Hey, welcome back in to another episode of Mindset Monday with me, Matt, where I share with you things that have helped me over the last nearly 13-year journey of getting sober, staying that way, rebuilding my marriage, and learning how to be a good man. It's been a hell of a ride, and I hope that through these episodes I can share with you just maybe one thought that you carry with you into the next week that you can build from, that can help you in your life. Thanks to today's sponsor, SoberLink. SoberLink's been the sponsor of our show for quite some time. And why is that? It's because we believe in its ability to help couples rebuild trust, or for parents to trust, find safety, know that their kids are going somewhere safe. Here's how it works. Let's say you're someone like me and you're trying to rebuild trust in your relationship. You voluntarily get this thing, okay? You volunteer to get a SoberLink. The reason you do that, two reasons really. One of them is accountability. See, you set up a network of people to get notified every single time you use this thing. So those moments where it might be easy to slip out on the way home and like say that you're leaving late, but instead you leave on time. Yeah, I know that trick. I used to run that game all the time. And then you go by the liquor store or wherever, drink in your car, stop by the bar. Everyone's going to get notified. So if you know that you have to use this thing and you've got some trusted people in your network that are supporting your sober journey, it's going to keep you from doing that. The other reason it's great is because you have people that are in your corner. They're not just there to keep tabs on you and to police you. They're there to support you, to cheer you along, to let you know that they're proud of you. And that's amazing. It's also a gift that you give your loved ones. Listen, transparency and visibility are so freaking important in this thing to really rebuild trust. Trust is lost in buckets and it's rebuilt in droplets. It takes a long time, repeated actions over a very long period of time to rebuild trust to where it was before this ever started. So you're behind the eight ball whenever you get going. It's really difficult. I had to change my behaviors over a really long period of time. And she just had to trust my behaviors, trust my actions. But you could speed that up with something like SoberLink. Spouses and partners are sick of fighting with you and asking you to blow in a device that you've maybe got at the drugstore, like a lesser device, something that's not like SoberLink. They're sick of looking for bottles. They're sick of having to smell your breath, and they're sick of wondering. Give your loved ones the gift of visibility and transparency. If you're as serious as you say you are about tackling this problem, get a SoberLink today. And they made it easier than ever to get into one of these devices. You can rent them now for as little as $19 a month. There are no more upfront costs. You can just rent the device for 1 year. Let's do it for 1 year, y'all. $19 a month. Now, there is a monthly plan cost in addition to that, but it used to be you had to come out of pocket right up front for the full cost of the device and then the monthly plan costs. And since you're an awesome listener of this show, SoberLink is going to send you a $100 Visa gift card to use toward your daily bills. You can use it on Tufo merch. You can use it on the monthly plan subscription, whatever you would like to do. Just go to soberlink.com/wheels to learn more. Again, that's soberlink.com/wheels. While you're on the internet, check out tufo.com where you can find merch like ours. Here's a recovery rock. This is a really cool way. See if it'll focus. There we go. It's got our logo on the front, and on the back it says, "Thank you for being my rock." These are all different colors. So this black one I keep up here, can't guarantee you'll get this one, but you'll get one. Come in like, rock colors. Earth tones, I suppose. It's a really cool way to acknowledge the journey that someone else has walked with you through recovery. Spouses and partners don't get a lot of love through these deals. Like, I got congratulations. How are you doing? People checking up on me, telling me they were proud of me. And Paige would kind of sit there like, this is kind of my journey too. Like, and what the hell? I'm going through hell over here. That's a really cool way for you to acknowledge that. Awesome. We have listeners that buy these for each other as well. It's so cool, man. Just spread that love and show that love. Our website, you can also find out about our free Facebook community, completely free, built for you guys. It is the best online community I've ever seen for spouses and partners. You will not get bobblehead answers that are prepackaged whenever you're going through something. Someone just says, just focus on you. It's almost like they just try to ignore you by saying that. I can't stand seeing that. Someone will pour their heart out and they'll be like, just focus on you. People need a little more than that, okay? And our listeners get that, and they are amazing. They will share with you their experience through things. If you've asked for advice, they will pick you up whenever you're feeling down. Sometimes they're just there to be a shoulder to cry on, and all that takes place in our free Facebook community called Tufo Community. We've also got a Discord channel. Facebook used to have these like chats that everyone used to use, and they were regional. Like there was a Midwest chat. There was like there was for different stages of recovery too. There was like an early recovery chat because that's kind of a unique journey of back and forth as you're hopeful and then like crushed over and over and over. That's just the reality of it. There's a chat for that. There's a podcast listening group in there. We've also got free community calls. Like, we do everything we can to make sure that you guys have the support you need in addition to the show. And if you'd like more support, if you'd like maybe a curriculum, we've built a program called Independently Strong. You can find out about that on our website. We used to have a discount coupon for it, but we got rid of it, just decreased the price of the course to the cost with the coupon. So no more coupon. Coupon doesn't apply anymore. But you can learn more about our program by going to independentlystrong.com or just go to tufo.com. There's a link for it. You can punch in there. You can find out about what the path of healing looks like for spouses and partners. This is Paige and I built it with our own personal experience and the help of a licensed therapist, Dr. Christopher Taylor, who helped us build this course. It's amazing. It's got 10 modules. It is in depth. It is tough work, y'all. It's tough work, but it's necessary work, we believe. This is what we did to get through this. And that also comes with its own community. We meet on Wednesday evenings, U.S. time. It's usually like 7 o'clock Central. And me, Paige, or both of us is usually there as long as like life isn't going crazy. But you kind of get access to us, email access. Like, you can email us during office hours. Happy to reply. If there's anything that we can do to help you and support you on your journey, that's what we're here for. You can learn more about that, again, at tufo.com or independentlystrong.com. All right. With that out of the way, let's get to this episode. It's going to be, I'm a little brain dead. Forgive me in advance. Let me pull this up. I have got up at like 8 or 9 this morning, coached baseball. We had a tournament today. We drove to a different state, just crossed the river, and played 4 games starting at like 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m., I think, maybe, and just like nonstop until like 7 o'clock. Then it's like an hour plus drive home. It was fun. The boys did great. Super proud of them. It was really cool. We it's near Halloween, which, by the way, if you're watching this, I got my Halloween Town shirt on. If you've never seen that one, it's a solid, like, just a fun Halloween movie. I think it's on Disney Plus. And then I'm rocking the pumpkin head hat. See that? There's a friend of ours. I've never met him in person, but amazing artist. Hollowwoods at Hallowwoods, HALLOW Woods. This is a character. This hat is the character Pumpkinhead. I'm not sure if he does it anymore, but for the longest time, he drew a Halloween themed photo every single day of the year. 365 of these things. And sometimes he auctions off his art. He's got calendars, which we always keep in our studio here. And anytime he ever makes something, we're there to support him. Love small artists, love small businesses, and so we're here to support, but rocking our Halloween stuff. So during the tournament, we were all dressed up as characters from Star Wars, and we had a paper, rock, scissors to see who had to be Leia, and I won, luckily. And so one of the other coaches had to dress up as Princess Leia. Got him like the white gown, and he had like the hair, like the wig, the buns, space buns. It was hilarious. I got to be Luke Skywalker, so that was fun. It was great. We had one of the kids paint his face like Darth Maul. It was greatness, man. He was out there on the mound and looked so evil. It was fun. We didn't win the tournament. We did get a couple wins. I'm super proud of him. But where that leaves me now late in the evening after getting home is a little brain dead, but I was really jazzed about recording this one. I was really looking forward to this because the topic is just, it's amazing. We get listener fan mail, and I love that. If you don't know how to do that, you can click the episode description and you can send a suggestion for an episode. You can text it to us, actually. Text a number. It's a one-way street. I can't see who you are. And I think it's limited by characters, but you can send us an episode suggestion. We've also got an open inbox. It's info@twofocouple.com, info@twfocouple.com. And I got this awesome email from somebody, and they asked to remain anonymous, and I will respect their wishes. But in general, here's what it said. They're with somebody who's been sober for quite some time. But therapy is not working, and this person feels like nothing is. There's plenty of betrayal trauma that's taken place over the last long time. Been together for a very, very long time. A lot of betrayal trauma, a lot of Darvo back and forth. And this person's also an avid listener, says they've listened to like multiple, sometimes 3 episodes a day. And I love that. People kind of find us and they'll binge it. We appreciate the support, and I hope that you're getting something from that. But this person asked for an episode, and this is why I'm recording it on my side of things on the Mindset Monday, which are often geared toward people who are in recovery. Like these started as like my message for other men that were going through it in the early days. And I felt like this was such a good topic because this is something that I've tried to convey to different guys. And this is something that spouses often ask for, which is what does it take to open up? What does it finally take to open up and discuss the darkest things? How do we do that? How do you even start? How do you overcome some of those fears, some of those anxieties? What if you don't really understand the language of emotions? How do you start to have these sorts of conversations? And it's interesting because the spouses and partners feel like they need to know these things, the details. And the reason I think they feel that way is because they can piece together their story. Remember, when there's been betrayal trauma of any kind, like lying, not just cheating here, but betrayal trauma of any kind, it messes with your assumptive reality. Imagine knowing someone for a very long period of time and then discovering that a lot of the things they've told you were lies. It changes the way that you look at all of your past events. It changes the foundation of what you believe that relationship is moving forward. And it crumbles the assumptive reality that you've had with this person forever. And so spouses and partners so often just give me the truth. Just give me the details. I need to know what's going on. I just need to know what's going on. I need to be able to piece this together. The fear, oftentimes, I know this was my fear, is that I felt like the more I volunteered, I was almost signing my death certificate. It's like, why would I volunteer info that would just give you all the reasons you would need to leave me? And we're going to talk about that today and how to overcome that fear. And that if you've got someone in your life who is willing to open up in that way, how you hold space for them. We're also going to talk about what it's like whenever you're just done, like you're past this point. The last thing I would want is someone to hear this message, like a spouse or a partner, and think, oh my God, I didn't give him enough chances. We're going to get to that. Okay. I'm going to leave you feeling just as assured as the couples who are trying to work through this. I don't want anyone to hear this and be like, oh, I've screwed it all up and skip this episode. This is really about how to open up, how to hold space to open up if you're a spouse and a partner. And remember, guys, that if you don't talk to them, they're going to create their own reality of things. They're going to create their own version of events oftentimes. And typically it's not going to be the best. Okay. So let's just be honest. If we're going to rebuild this thing, let's rebuild it from ashes, not from smoldering crap. Let's not leave anything to guess. Let's just be honest. Let's be upfront and let's start to have these kinds of conversations. I think that this is a really, really, really big one for spouses and partners, because if someone were to hear this, like their partner who's struggling to open up, maybe they would open up. But I also think it's going to give you, the listener, context as to maybe why someone doesn't, but also understanding that that's not in your control. And it's not your job to parent grown men on how to talk. You can hold space for them. You can make it safe to fail. But at some point, it has to be them that becomes willing to have these conversations and to be open and to have the humility to speak to you in the manner that you deserve, with honesty and with truthfulness. And that's what we rebuilt our relationship on with me and Paige. And it was scary. It wasn't always, the best whenever you're talking about the past, especially. And this has come up again, and I've got a lot of stories to tell about this, but I just wanted to frame the episode first about where this came from. A listener who's just been asking themselves that question, and I think it's a very valid question, and I appreciate you writing in, truly. So when someone's been sober for a while, but they still won't open up, they're hiding, they're deflecting, and this mentally exhausts spouses and partners, man. They want to reconnect. They so badly want to reconnect. But I've often said that, like, alcohol and drugs, like when you get sober from alcohol and drugs, I should say, you're going to feel better, which means that you're going to feel anxiety better. You're going to feel anger better. You're going to feel sadness better. And you're really not going to know what to do with any of these things. If sobriety has given me anything at all, it's given me the ability to feel my emotions from the beginning all the way to the end. Every single time an emotion used to get a little uncomfortable. Let's say there's or imagine like a tachometer on a car, right? As soon as everything got to like 2,000 RPM, it was a little too uncomfortable. I know how to make this go away. I got this great trick. And I would take a pill. I would take something to drink. I would smoke something and I wouldn't feel it anymore. And every time I did that, I didn't realize I was shorting myself on maturity, because that's really what maturity, that's how we get it, right? It's experiencing things from the beginning to the end and understanding that even in our most like fearful moments that everything is going to be okay. If you don't have the proof in your life that you can tell yourself, hey, remember that one time we got through this? It's going to be okay. Then you're going to be a mess. You will run for drugs and alcohol every single time that you're feeling anything uncomfortable. And it becomes really difficult to talk about this stuff whenever you're sober because you don't have the language for it. You're not really sure what to say. It's difficult. It's really difficult to open up in that way. But this letter, man, this thing broke my heart. It really did. In a lot of ways, I've been both versions of that in the very beginning for a long time in active addiction. Like, I wanted to be honest. I wanted to open up. I wanted to talk about what was going on with me. I was hiding. I didn't know. I didn't want to come forth. And I think a lot of it for me stemmed from this. If you knew who I really was, then you would want nothing to do with me. I think that was my biggest fear. And the reason I didn't speak up for so long was because if you truly understood who I was and the things that I've done, you would never want to talk to me again. Is that true? No, typically it's not. But that's the story that we tell ourselves. And that affects everything that we do moving forward. That affects the way that we show up. That affects how open we are and how vulnerable we are in conversations. But I learned how to tell the truth. And my goal throughout this episode is to inspire you to maybe try to do the same. I hope that you can do the same because it's freeing for you and it can be for your partner as well, regardless of the outcome of that relationship. I need to be abundantly clear about this. This may not save your marriage. There's just no guarantee, guys. There is such a thing as a total relationship where we have put them through too much, where the rope is just burned to the end and there's not too much to rebuild from. Because remember, like, people have limits, right? They're allowed to have their limits. And sometimes we've reached that limit without even realizing it. And so the scary part about being honest and vulnerable is that sometimes we give them permission to move on. But as I've said, and I will talk to you about many times, is that if we're going to rebuild this thing, it needs to be rebuilt on you truly knowing who I am, not some story that you've told yourself, not some illusion of the person I've led you to believe I am, but who I really am. If we're going to do this thing, let's do it right. So this isn't an episode just about addiction or marriage. It's really not. It's about the courage it takes, I think, to stop hiding and to speak honestly and to either repair or to release, either way, with integrity. And if you're still in it, I want to show you how to talk. I hope I can show you how to talk about this stuff. And if you've already left, I want you to know that you didn't fail. You made quite possibly the hardest and healthiest choice that you possibly could. So this is for everyone, but let's get started with the conversation around why it's so difficult to talk about this stuff. Why so many guys struggle with this? Because I've seen this email more times than I can count. And I've had the DMs from guys, the messages from guys that are like, I don't know where to start. Like, I can't talk about this kind of stuff. Oftentimes it's spouses and partners. I probably get 3 to 4 times the amount of messages from spouses and partners about this topic as I do from guys. Kudos to you guys that do reach out. I know it's a tough thing to do, but it says a lot, I think, about where you're at if you're willing to message effectively a stranger and just ask for input. I think that's a beautiful thing, man. But spouses and partners oftentimes the ones reaching out because they feel like they want answers. They deserve answers in a lot of ways. They feel like, and I think it's fair, that if we're going to rebuild this thing, you have to let me do so with all the information and let me make that choice for myself. Let me make that choice. And then I think more than that, they just want to know you. Like, they just want to know who you are. They want to know you deeply. They want to connect with you. They want to know what makes you tick. They want to know how to support you better. They want to know what your fears are so they can help you through it. But I think as guys, silence is masqueraded as strength for as long as I can possibly remember with the typical ideas of what masculinity is, right? So we're looking at like the stoic man, and this is the man who is unfazed. This is the man who is quiet. This is the man who is seemingly calm. We're supposed to be calm under pressure. I think in a lot of ways, though, there's some beauty to that, but there's also a dark side to that, which is that if that's all you ever are, your relationship is probably shit because you're never talking to anybody. They're never really connecting with you. It's like being married to a robot, I'm sure. Being married to this thing that just operates it's like an operating system as opposed to someone who has highs and lows and someone who makes mistakes and someone who can talk about those mistakes and someone who can receive input and give input and have a real human connection with somebody. And I think that a lot of guys do this. I'll just speak for myself here. It's out of fear. It was fear of being seen. Like if you knew what was really going on between my ears, you would want nothing to do with me. And I had a massive fear around that because I had this idea of what I was supposed to be, like this idea husband. And what that meant to me was this, man, the bar was so high. I was like, I could never attain it. I certainly couldn't do it being who I really was. So I would almost fake it and like act a character in order to do that. But in doing that, I was not being authentic. And so we weren't close because I was giving her this idea of who I was rather than showing her who I really was. And also, I want to be clear, people are smarter than you think. They know when you're holding back. People know when they're being sold. We've said that from the very beginning, like about this show, is that I think the reason we have an audience is because we're just being honest, and you guys know that. And you know the difference. You know when someone is like reading some scripted bullshit or reading something that they think you want to hear as opposed to just being you. Like authenticity is everything, especially these days, like right now, like with the advent of AI and like, I think that like influencer culture too, and like social media, like so much shit is fake and just curated. And like people are craving human connection and in-person experiences and authenticity more than anything. And so it is like the most attractive thing in the world, especially for your spouse, for men that can be authentic. I want to let you know that like women find this sexy. Like you have nothing to fear really. It's an amazing thing. And we'll get to the spouse's part in that particular aspect a little bit later, because that does come with a bit of a responsibility that a lot of women that I've heard have not handled well. Well, it's a nuanced topic. We'll get to in a little bit, but I think that a lot of guys feel rejected. And so they're silent. They're fearing being rejected. So they stay silent to avoid the fear of being rejected. Or if someone does, let's say that you are vulnerable with them and you're honest with them. I think that some people have this fear that it could confirm their worst fears, which is that I am nothing, that I'm not enough, that I'll never be enough. And that's a huge fear. Like being in a relationship it is such a task to be able to look at someone wholly and fully and like give yourself to them. And a lot of guys weren't taught how to do this. And I'm not saying it's your fault, but it's your responsibility. For everything that we can say about what's going on with men, that maybe we didn't have the best examples. Some of us didn't. A lot of us did. Maybe we don't have the best role models. Maybe we don't have the best education. Maybe we're not, talked to in a way that would make us open to doing something like this. Okay, let's say that all those things are true. It's still your responsibility. It's still your responsibility. And I will not accept any of those excuses for a reason that we don't try. Okay. I have always said that like I am the most average dude of all time, and nothing I have done is extraordinary in the slightest. I've just done, I think, what is the bare minimum. And in this aspect, that is simply just getting past the fear of all those things I talked about, being seen, being rejected, my own worst sabotage story come true. I've just done that stuff willingly to see what would happen, more or less. But I think that you think also, a lot of guys, because I was here too, that you think that hiding sort of protects your partner. Like not saying this stuff protects them from being hurt. Now, this is a bit nuanced when we talk about like affairs and betrayal and things like that, because that is going to hurt them. It is. I still think that they deserve to know if you're going to rebuild. I don't think it's fair to withhold this stuff. I know that programs like the 12-step program has their own ideas about this. And I've always felt that it was dishonest. It's just the simplest way to put it. Dishonest in some ways. Like this, in some ways they talk about like, just let bygones be bygones and like, let's not go there. I disagree with that. I think if we're going to rebuild a relationship, it needs to be done the right way. And I think that people are adults and we should allow them to make adult decisions after we've given them information. But I think that we often think that we're hiding to protect our partner. But what we're really doing, it's a mask. We're protecting our own egos. We don't want to talk about these things because in doing that, we have to admit where we came up short. And so we sort of wrap it in this present that like, I'm protecting you. But inside the present is our ego. We're protecting our own ego. I think that when I was hiding, like this is an act of addiction, I wasn't shielding Paige from any pain. She still got plenty of it from me showing up like halfway inauthentically. She still got the pain, maybe a little bit less, but I think that what I was really doing was I was avoiding my own pain. I was avoiding looking at myself in the mirror and the truth of who I really was, based on my behaviors and my actions and my thoughts and my beliefs, not who I wished I could be. And I had these two versions, right? The version I wished I could be, then I have the real version. And I didn't want to talk about it because I wasn't ready to look at that guy. I wasn't ready to be honest with myself about who that guy really was. It would it just kind of crumbled my identity when I did it. But I got to the point where I became willing to do that. And what I discovered was that the truth does not destroy relationships. I think that lies and avoidance do. And when I say destroy relationships, I don't just mean your marriage. There's a chance that coming out the other side of this, you may not be married, but you're still going to have a relationship with that person if you're going to have kids one day, or just an amicable relationship in some sense that like, hey, that chapter in our lives didn't work out, but I can still have, an amicable, like respectful relationship with that person moving forward. Like everyone you interact with in some way, there's a duty there to have a relationship with them. But I think for a lot of people, they look at it as, why would I volunteer this information if I know it's going to end me in divorce court? But that's not always the case. I think that if you keep lying and you keep avoiding things, that's a really sure way to do it. I think if you are going to have a chance, any chance at all, it's got to be with truth. It just has to be. And let's talk a little bit more about the fear behind the silence. For spouses and partners, I want you to know this coming from my perspective. And again, I should open every episode saying this. I'm not a therapist. I don't hold any advanced degrees in psychology or anything else. I am a dude that has worked through this, and I've just worked other people through it. Okay. So take my opinions for what they are. Just the opinions of someone that's been there. Simply that. You can take me for that. But I think for spouses, like this is where I was at when I was going through this, just knowing what you guys go through and watching obviously my best friend go through this, is that silence doesn't always mean that your partner doesn't care. I think a lot of the times what it means is they don't quite have the tools yet to face themselves. So I know that there are a lot of wives and a lot of fiancés and girlfriends, boyfriends, whoever out there, doesn't matter, your partner, let's just say partners out there that they're watching their, like in this case, this person's husband, watching them go through the motions of being sober and being cold and distant. And it's easy to think and assume that they don't care. And I know exactly why you would do that, because what else do you have to assume? They must not care. I think, and this is from my own experience, that I did not have the tools to face myself. And you were the collateral damage of that, if that makes any sense. Me not having those tools put you in the same harm's way, but it wasn't like it wasn't intentional, I should say. It wasn't that I didn't care. Like I cared a great deal. I can't say that everyone cares. Like there's surely some people that don't. They just don't give a shit. But I think most of them do. It's fair to say. But if you don't have the tools to face yourself, you're never going to get to that point. And I think that silence is also incredibly damaging. I will say that. I think that a silence is incredibly damaging. I'm not going to sit here and defend anyone who would rather stay silent. I can give you context, but I can't defend it. I just can't. It creates loneliness for you. It creates doubt. Like this listener talked about, they have to write their own stories to fill in the blanks. They can only assume things. It makes you feel abandoned and unloved and unheard and unseen. And it creates mental chaos. That's the fact of the matter. And I think that you deserve clarity. I truly do. I believe that. That's why I'm recording these episodes. I think that you deserve clarity. I don't think that you need to be stuck managing anyone else's discomfort. Like my inability to see myself is my problem, but it becomes your problem too whenever you're affected by it. So as much as people want to say, just stay in your lane, you can know two things at once, okay? You can know the why of it all, and you can also be affected by it. And both those things are true. And you talking about your pain does not make you codependent. You talking about your pain does not make you anything other than someone who wants safety in their relationship. God forbid someone who wants safety in their relationship. So let's get started, I think, with what I've done. There's probably more to it, but for brevity's sake, which I've never been good at, I'll talk about 5 things that I did that I think kind of changed everything for me. When I got sober, like when I finally checked into treatment and I got ready to stop, man, like I felt good about stopping because I had a good career. I had a good career with addiction, with all the substances that I ever used. Like I could look back at those things and truly say to myself, there's nothing more to learn with that substance. There's nothing more to experience. Like I've done it all. I've experienced everything you can with that. I know what that path looks like. And I don't want that life anymore. I just didn't know how to walk forward. I didn't know where to start, really. I didn't know how to communicate my feelings. I didn't know how how to rebuild a relationship. I didn't know really what honesty looked like wholly, kinda, but I had limited experience. Remember, we were 14 years old when we started dating. 14. And are you really dating at 14? You know, like we didn't even have cars or anything. We were boyfriend and girlfriend, but couldn't like take her on dates necessarily. It's like a parents dropped us off somewhere. But I think that she was drawn to me in the beginning because I was just me. I was open and fun and vulnerable, and she loved that about me. And so I think that we all have experience in some ways with just being ourselves. And then we grow up and we get too cool for shit, and then we start putting on masks and we kind of forget who we are. But when I got sober, I wanted to get back to integrity. I wanted to get back to living with integrity. For me, there's not many feelings that can surpass going to bed at night knowing that you've been in your integrity all day long. Whether that was a difficult conversation and you were honest and you were respectful, or you were incredibly vulnerable and open and fun loving. Either way, I wanted to be me. I wanted to handle me and every emotion I had with integrity. I guess I wanted to rebuild this thing, like I said earlier, like from ashes. Like but the old one's burned down. Let's start a new one, but let's start it on like firm footing. I didn't want to rebuild anything from an illusion. I wanted my wife to stay. I wanted my relationship to work out. I didn't want her to leave me. But when I got sober, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if we'd still be together. I checked into that treatment center, man, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I wasn't sure if we'd still be married in 30 days. I didn't know if that was the beginning of the end. I didn't know if she was getting advice from people on divorce attorneys to look at. I didn't know if I would be like the dad I always dreamed of being, with like growing up, you know, like having her grow up. My daughter at the time, 9 months old, we have 2 now, but at the time, 9-month-old daughter, I didn't know if I'd get the chance to like raise her like I'd always dreamed. I didn't know, but at the same time, to say I didn't care isn't fair, because I cared, but if I was going to move forward, it was going to be in integrity. I was going to be truthful about everything. I was going to be honest about everything from the very beginning. And anything that she wanted to know about, I would disclose. I wouldn't even have to make her ask. I would talk to her as it came up in conversation, and I was ready for those conversations. And it's scary. I know how scary that is. It's like if she stayed, I wanted her to stay for who I really was, not for who I was pretending to be. And I think that there's so many of you running out there that are pretending to be someone that you're not. And I think that you're crazy to think that your spouses don't already know you. They know the truth. And sometimes the truth is tough. Sometimes the truth means that you're abusive and that you're an asshole, and that's who you are. For a lot of others, you pretend to be those things and you're not. You're actually really scared and you're vulnerable and you don't know what to do. And so you put up this guard of someone that you're not. Addiction certainly has a part in this, driving some of your behaviors without a doubt. But when those things exist in the absence, we have a serious problem, right? But I think that integrity starts inside. I think that you have to tell yourself the truth first. You have to start there. You have to be honest with yourself about everything. So let's start from the top. Why do we do the things we do? That was a tough one for me in the beginning. Like, why do I put this shit in my body? Why do I put this poison in my body? Man, I just wanted to feel good. And that's oversimplification, but it's true. I just wanted to feel good. I wanted to feel happy. I wanted to feel happy all the fucking time. And I didn't really care that sadness was an emotion I needed to feel. I didn't care about feeling it. I wanted to be enthusiastic and optimistic and happy, because naturally I wasn't. I was negative and I was angry and I was scared, and I just wanted to be happy. I just wanted to feel good. I wanted to be happy about something with minimal effort, and it's as simple as putting a substance in your body. And I had to be honest with myself about that, is that I have a really hard time dealing with basic downs in life. When shit doesn't go my way, I am the worst at it. And this goes back to when I was like freaking 8-10 years old, man. I was the baseball player on the field that if I had a bad call, or like I hit a weak ground ball and got thrown out, like I'm coming in the dugout slamming shit and throwing stuff and kicking crap and crying, and it would ruin my entire day. My whole day was ruined. And I carried on that same behavior through my 20s. When shit went wrong in my life, I didn't know how to stop it. It's like I couldn't give myself permission to let it go and to move forward. It's like if I stayed mad at it, I don't know, maybe I don't even know what I was thinking. I can't even quite articulate that. Like, why did I feel the need to stay angry at it? Maybe it was to let people know that I cared. Maybe that was it. But I think more than that, like I was just disappointed in myself. Like I wanted to do well. And when I didn't, or when shit didn't go my way, I just sucked at adjusting. I either blamed it on you or external events and bitched about how life wasn't fair. And I became like a PhD in bitching. But I wasn't really fixing anything, you know, and certainly not learning how to deal with life. And that's why I put substances in my body. I sucked at dealing with life. I was maladaptive at dealing with the ups and downs of life. Like I did not like the fact that you would just feel down at certain points in your life. Like when I got sober, I remember like there's highs and lows in life, man. You're not always going to feel great. And that's just life. Like I would go through you can call it depression. I don't think it's depression. I think there's just downs in life. I've been depressed in sobriety. Don't get me wrong. I know the difference, but you're just going through a lull, man. Like life isn't super exciting. You're grinding your ass off at work. Things are tough. Shit keeps breaking around the house. And like you're on a losing streak. And that's life. And I had never allowed myself to get through any of that shit. I would take pills and I would drink and I'd just be happy guy, you know, up all the time. And I was scared to deal with the downs, I suppose. I just wanted to feel good all the time. There are other people that are hiding from an immense amount of pain and trauma and they don't want to process it. Whenever they're sober, that stuff comes to the front of their mind. And it's tough to think about that shit. It's tough, man. It feels like touching a stove inside of your mind whenever you go back and revisit some of those painful events. And the only way to quiet it down sometimes is to put a substance in your body. But you have to get honest about that. You have to get honest about that because that's where we have to start. That's where we really have to start. So get honest about whatever it is that's going on within yourself. You have to accept you first before you can expect anyone else to hear it. You have to accept you. And I think that is maybe the most important step in the beginning is accepting you for you. And still loving yourself in spite, to understand that like you are still worth loving. You're still worth rooting for. You're still worthy of repair. But you have to believe that about yourself. And I don't know where you get off feeling that you're not, because if you've got someone who's listening to this episode on your behalf, you are deeply loved, deeply loved. If you're listening to this, believe it or not, you love yourself because you care enough to listen to my dumbass rant about this crap because you care. And I'm glad that you care. You deserve it. The next thing I did, I held space for her emotions. This was really difficult, man. The hardest part wasn't confessing stuff. It wasn't talking about that time that I didn't make it to your mom's for dinner. I was actually buying pills and I was waiting on the dealer and he took forever and I lied about it and I told you one thing and I did another. It wasn't that. That's hard to say because you can watch someone's heart break as you can see the trust leave their eyes. And their body language changes and you're like, oh, I'm a POS and that hurts and that's hard. Don't get me wrong. But I think the hardest part about repair is sitting with someone in their anger when they're angry at you. It's sitting in grief when they're grieving a relationship that they believed that they had and sitting there with them through that, sitting with her through her disgust for me, sitting with her through all of that stuff without trying to defend myself. That is so hard to not try to justify and minimize their feelings. We're actually going through something like this right now. Paige has got a new therapist, which is awesome, man. They're doing some great work together. They meet once a week. And believe it or not, this shit comes apart in layers. And here we are over a decade later, and there's still layers that we haven't really uncovered. Sure, we've dealt with stuff, but has she really, really explored some of it? Turns out, no. And so she had a session recently and called me. And she's talking to me about there's some things that took place that she never really let herself feel. And she told herself that she did, but she hasn't. And she had to be honest with herself about it. And as she's talking to me, I'm sitting here and my first instinct, not going to lie, my first instinct is, dude, we're good. There shouldn't I get a pass here? Don't I get some get out on good behavior? For 13 years, I've been doing this deal. And I did not do that. I just sat there and I sat there with her in the pain as she was talking about some of these events that had transpired. And I just let her feel it, man. I just let her feel this stuff. And guys, I know how scary it is. But again, my job is to sit here with you through your pain. My job is to not try to minimize your pain. My job is to not try to explain it away. My job is to not try to defend myself or say, but this happened. We've been through this and you know, at some point this shit has an expiration date. No, Like every instinct I had told me to minimize and justify it, because in my mind, I'm losing my relationship. If I let her explore this, then she's going to find something that she doesn't like and she's going to leave me. So at the end of all that, what I'm feeling is it's a fear of abandonment. I'm fearing that she's going to abandon me, that she's going to leave me, and all this hard work will be for nothing. And this all took place like within a couple of milliseconds as I'm listening to her talk about this. And then what I land on is I am not going to try to control this narrative. I'm going to let her feel whatever she needs to feel. I'm going to let her uncover and discover whatever she needs. I'm going to be here with it through her. If she wants to talk about it, I'm here to listen. I'm here to validate those experiences. I'm here to listen and learn too. What can I learn more about myself that she may uncover that I haven't looked at yet? That's important too, for me, for her, for our kids, for everyone. But just sitting there with it, I didn't try to control how the truth landed. I allow her to feel her feelings, and she needs to create her own reality of these events, not the one that I've been selling her or the one that we've been selling ourselves. I'm going to let her go through that herself. She's an adult. She deserves that. She is smart as shit. Okay. And at the end of the day, remember what I said in the beginning is that I came in this with integrity. And so if you're going to love me, it will be because those things happened and you found a way to get through it, not let's pretend they didn't, or not let me lie to you about it. I don't want a relationship that's based on anything fake. If we're going to make it, I want to make it through that stuff and have that stuff be part of our story, not pretend like it didn't happen. And I think that a lot of your spouses want that very same thing. Guys, they want you that. And here's where I think that you may not understand is that if your spouse is still listening to this, is there a guarantee that you make it out the other side once they really start to process their grief and their anger and their sadness? No, there's not. But if you're going to have any shit of a relationship, anything worth it, this stuff has to happen. So you might as well go through it. Worst thing that happens is you learn something about yourself. The worst thing that happens here. You make it or you don't, but you're going to learn something. I think that's incredibly important. But you can't rush through someone's emotions. Like you can't rush those things. You can only prove over time that your words aren't hollow. And so for me, like 13 years out, she may uncover some stuff, but she's also got a long period of time where, I've been doing the deal. And so regardless of what she uncovers, will it be painful? Yeah, but probably going to be okay. For those of you who don't have much experience, it's probably really scary. And I completely acknowledge that. It's really scary. But I think that 9 times out of 10 spouses come here wanting to rebuild. Some of them come here just to look for permission. It's okay to go. But a lot more come here ready to rebuild. They want to rebuild. They cannot do it for you, bro. You have to talk. You have to give space for this stuff. You have to open up. They can't do it for you. As bad as they love you, they can't do this stuff for you. Next thing I did, I think that was beneficial was I was humble through it. And actually that's, I think, where my confidence came from was like, I think humility, man. Oftentimes people will say about humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's just thinking of yourself less. But I also think that it's just reality, right? It's all we're really doing is accepting the reality of ourselves and choosing to love ourselves in spite of it. Love ourselves, not like applaud the shit we did, but love ourselves in spite of it, because we deserve a second chance. Like, what's the point of tomorrow if today's ruined, right? Like, we don't carry that mindset here. We like, will forever be hopeful, and I will forever be a believer in the human capacity and ability to change whenever we put our minds to it and we do the work. I think that you can't confuse, though, guilt with growth. I don't confuse the two. I can carry like humble confidence because I like me. I am a fallible man. I make a shitload of mistakes. I am not perfect. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as long as I'm walking forward, trying to learn and trying to do better and trying to correct those things. And I'm not sure what else you can ask of people, y'all. I know there's a lot of people who are perfectionists running around and they think that like once you screw up, that's it. There's no point. We're done. That's not the way it works, man. Like, how good of a feeling, let me tell you how good of a feeling it is that you can't hurt me with anything I've already accepted about myself. You can't. I have already dissected it 10 times. There's nothing you can say to me that is going to kill me. There are certain things you could call out about me that I know that I'm still working on. And while it may sting to hear, I'm like, yeah, I know, man, I've still got that one. I need to work on that a little harder. Like, you can't hurt me though. Like, I love me and you can't defeat that. I love myself. And I think that you've got to start there too. If you're going to rebuild, you've got to love you. You've got to be able to face this stuff. From the very beginning, you have to be able to face yourself before you're going to be able to open up to anybody else. So I think when you have to make peace with who you are. And when you do that, no one can weaponize it against you. No one can use it against you. So you want to be respected. Stop pretending like you're perfect. Own your story. Own it. Every part of it, guys. There's nothing more powerful, I don't think, than someone who doesn't hide from who they are, from themselves. I think that that's such a powerful thing. And I think that spouses and partners feel that same way. Like, we have a process we call VEER. First thing we do is we validate people. We like talk about the very real emotions that you're having and let you know that like, those are normal emotions to be having in this situation. And then we educate people. We do our best to do that. That's the process by which we learned so much about each other. And I learned about recovery. She learned about her recovery. And then we empower people. Guys, so many spouses come here unsure of who they are, unsure of how they're going to look at their past and beat themselves up for all the mistakes they made in their past relationship, unsure in how they're going to move forward. But once they begin to own their story and love themselves because of it, because of that person that walked through that stuff, and they're beginning to like really identify with it, dude, what comes out the other side is like freaking superhero. Like you can't touch these people. Like you can't hurt people who have accepted this stuff about themselves and walked through the other side, like walk through fire and found a way to the other side. That is so powerful. So freaking powerful. I've watched that happen more times than I can possibly count. And it's a magical thing. It's an honor to be part of and watch. But also, I think that you got to be willing to repair this. So this is for the guys. Repair is not an apology. Apologies matter, but that's not repair. It's consistent, reliable behavior over time. That's what repair really is. The apology matters. The words effing matter, guys. The words matter. But the behaviors over time consistently matter even more. And when you screw it up, acknowledge that you did and don't do it with any yeah buts. Yeah, but no, just yeah, I did it. Damn it. You're right. I am a work in progress. And that's okay. That's okay. Like I didn't rebuild my marriage with speeches, like very few of them. In fact, I rebuilt it by showing up every day. That's what I did. I showed up every day and it wasn't always convenient, but I did it anyway. Repair means that you take the lead. I cannot stress this enough. You take the lead. What I see in the recovery space most of the time are spouses and partners trying to recover for both people. God damn it, this is your job in the beginning. You, the person like me, this is your job. You take the repair. You can do this. You take the repair. They can't do it all for you. They have so many of these pieces ready to go, and all you got to do is bring this one piece, leading the repair. I think that trust is rebuilt like slowly, quietly, very boringly over time. But people have to trust that you're predictable again. I think that's what safety really is, right? It's being able to predict someone in all the best ways too. I think addiction is just like one of the hallmarks is just like this unpredictable nature of this person. Like Paige never knew who was coming home, what version of me was coming home. Me coming home after I was able to find my pills, not the worst to be around for a while, but me that didn't have pills, oh my God. Me who had too many pills, oh my God. Didn't want to be around that guy. Just up and down, man. One minute I'm talking about our future and how enthusiastic I am and all these like, I'm buzzed and I've got all these ideas and I'm geeked about it. And then the next second, like I'm coming down and I'm negative and I'm pissy and I'm judgmental and I'm just dismissive and like, God damn, man. Trust is rebuilt like peacefully, quietly, in a boring way over a very long period of time. But I had to be willing to repair that. In the beginning, I just considered it all my fault. I never looked at her and said, you have to do this and I won't move unless you do X. Never. I looked at it like this is all my fault. And that was good news to me because if it was all my fault, then it was all my responsibility to fix. And I was willing to take that challenge. I was like, okay, well, if it's all my fault, then I can fix it all too. That stands to reason. And so that's what I did. Turns out that's not true either. You can't fix everything for them either. but you can make it a hell of a lot easier by just taking the lead, doing the work. All right, now, this is where I think the meat of the episode is. 50 minutes in. I'm sorry about that, y'all, but I think this is important. Is that there's so many guys who don't have, my back's crushed. Let me lean back a little bit. There's so many guys that don't have the words. And they don't have the words, and so they don't say them. Or if they try, they get really frustrated whenever they're not quite hitting or they want to hit. And this is what prevents a lot of these conversations from ever getting started, is that guys don't try. You're not trying to have the conversation. And I'm not sitting here trying to beat anyone up who doesn't know how. I'm saying you still have to try. You've got to try. Try, damn it. Just give it a shot. Here's what I did. You are not emotionally empty. Like, regardless of what the internet says about men are not emotionally empty. We are not. We're emotionally illiterate. We're illiterate. We don't know the language of emotions. And so we feel deeply, but we lack the language to express it. And so what that comes off as is cold. Like, we don't care. We do. A lot of us just don't know where to start with this, okay? And again, I've already acknowledged the why. I don't care anymore. I care about the how. How are we going to fix this? I want you to try even when you don't know how, even when you don't know where to start. My first experience with this was with the feelings wheel, and I hated this damn thing. Go to feelingswheel.com. Literally, that's a website. feelingswheel.com. I want you to pull it up and go look at this stupid thing. When I was in treatment, they used to have us do process group. And so they would get all of us into a room, like in the mornings, and we would have to talk about our feelings. And I'm like, this is some kumbaya bullshit. What the F are we doing? Right? Like, there's like grown ass men, like tough looking guys in there from all different walks of life. And I'm like, we're going to sit here and like, this is corny. Like, this is crap that you see in movies. I can't believe I'm like, this is my life right now. But this is one of the most beneficial exercises I ever did. And I'm so grateful that I sat there with just a tidbit of willingness to try and learn what they were teaching me, which was how to identify my freaking emotions. Because if you can identify the emotion and you can make it more granular, more specific, now we can have conversations about it. When they first asked me this question, how do you feel? I would say good. Turns out good's not an emotion. It's not. They would make me look at this thing and really dissect it. So here's where a lot of guys live. They live between fearful and angry, especially in the beginning. Sometimes disgusted and sad. Maybe it's just bad. And bad's on here. This wasn't on the one I used in the beginning. But let's look at angry, okay? Let's just say I'm angry. I don't really know why. I'm pissed. It can be anything. Let's make it more granular. Let's walk out. Are you let down? Are you humiliated? Are you bitter? Are you mad? Are you aggressive? Are you frustrated? Are you distant? Are you critical? All those things. Guys, anger is a secondary emotion, usually brought on by something like fear. So let's go look at fear. If none of those fit, not quite. I'm not like aggressive. I'm just angry. Okay, well, are you scared? Ooh, getting closer. Are you anxious? Don't want to admit it, but that could be it. Are you insecure? Ouch. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Okay, so then what is it? Do you feel helpless? Do you feel frightened? Do you feel overwhelmed? Are you worried? Are you inadequate? You see where I'm going with this? If you can just look at this thing, this can get a lot of your conversation started. I know it sounds corny. Just try it. Just try it. Let's walk through it. Use it as a map. So start in the center, angry, sad, scared, happy, disgusted, bad, surprised, whatever it is. Move outward to find precision. Don't just stop at mad. Maybe it's humiliated. Maybe you're not sad. Maybe you feel abandoned. And then it can come up in a million ways now where we go with our conversation. So you're mad. Why? I don't know. I'm humiliated. Well, what are you humiliated for? Because I felt like this isn't who I'm supposed to be in life. Like, I was supposed to be a provider and a protector, and I was supposed to be an honorable man, and I'm not. And I'm not sure how I square that idea of that person I'm supposed to be with this person that I am over here. And I'm scared that you're going to leave me. And I don't really know what that would look like. And I'm just scared to death and I'm terrified. You see where we're going now? You're having a conversation about your feelings. And that's how it goes. I need to preface this now. before I forget. For spouses and partners, so many of you want these kinds of conversations. And I think when emotions are high and they're tense and you are craving validation that you so desperately deserve from your favorite person, it's really tough in these moments to hold space. This is where Paige excelled at a level that I cannot even begin to describe. She is probably the world's best listener. She listened, man. She listened to me, and she listened intently. She was not listening to respond. She was not listening to do anything other than feel these feelings with me. She would look me in the eyes, and I could see the compassion bleeding out of her tears as I'm talking about how I'm feeling, as she's just sitting there with her hand on my hand, letting me talk about this stuff. It's really tough to do. That is a tough thing to do. I cannot imagine, after what I put her through, for her to sit there and listen to me cop to my bullshit, but she did. And I think that that is a prerequisite for repair. And not everyone has that patience still. So if you're having these conversations and they become heated quickly, first thing, try to center yourself, try to ground yourself, and remember that you're here because you wanted to have these conversations, and you need to allow this person to express how they're feeling. Right, wrong, indifferent, whatever. We're just going to let them express it. We're going to sit there with them through their pain. This is what we wanted. We wanted them to open up. We wanted them to have these kinds of conversations. And it's really difficult for a lot of men to do. Please hold space for that. I just want to ask you that. But there is also going to be some number of you that is not zero, that is past the point of these conversations. And we'll get to where I think you usually land here in a bit. But I just wanted to say that I've heard from a lot of guys, and obviously the men that generally this didn't go the way they wanted are the ones who say it. I don't think it's always true, but I think it is sometimes true that when men open up, what they express is used against them. That their greatest fear comes true, that this masculine ideal was what you expected. And when I'm opening up and when I'm being weak, when I'm having a moment of weakness and I'm just being me and vulnerable, that you're taking it and you're feeling disgusted with it. That is a cold thing to do. We are all human. Whoever created these boxes that we're supposed to fit in of like masculine and feminine didn't ask anyone about any of this shit, right? About the human factor here. Sure, these things make sense sometimes, right? Sure. Okay. Yeah. Valid. But if someone's going to be willing to open up to you, hold space for them. Okay. This is who your partner really is. This is what you wanted, right? Now, if you want a partner that only fits inside that box, then don't ask for this. Because what you're going to get is a whole ass person out the other side, because they do have emotions and they're emotionally illiterate. And what comes out isn't going to be perfect. It's going to be messy. But I think that's okay. I want you guys to know that that's okay. You don't have to be perfect in these conversations. In fact, I think that the lack of perfection is what makes these conversations even better. Because as I'm talking to Paige about like, I just feel, I don't know, I feel dismissed by you. She's like, she'll just ask me a question, dismissed how? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I felt unsupported. Okay, let's talk about that. How did you feel unsupported? And I can talk about my feelings. And she's like, wow, I didn't realize I'd done that, but I see where you're at. Let's keep talking. Dude, like now we're having a conversation that's an emotionally charged conversation, but like each person is holding space for the other. And the messier, the better, in my opinion, because that helped us connect as a couple. That helped her understand my emotions and my thought process behind them. And it helped me understand hers. I did the same, very same thing for her. So start in the center of that wheel, move outward, get more granular. And there are some examples that could come up. Like when you ask about the past, I get defensive. Not because like I want to lie, but because I feel humiliated. And that's what I really feel. I just feel humiliated. Like I'm effing embarrassed. I cannot believe I did this shit. And you can just sit there and listen. And it's not your job to fix it for them. It's not your job to say, don't worry about it, because it does matter. Just let them feel that. Just let them feel it. And if you're still there, guys, I want you to know, if they're still sitting there with you, that means something, okay? They're still there with you. It's okay to be seen. It's okay to be a burden. I know so many guys fear doing this, and as soon as they break the mold of like tough guy, that they're going to walk off, but that's usually not the case. There's some amazing women here that listen to the show every week, and they want nothing more than for guys to open up like this. Let's say that whenever, like, you know, like when you talk about therapy, like I feel inferior. I feel like everyone knows something that I don't. And it's embarrassing to me. Like, I don't really know what to do. I don't know how to have these conversations. I feel stupid. We're getting somewhere. Dude, thank you for talking to me about that. Like, I totally get it. And I feel the same way sometimes. And I'm not perfect, but I roll with it, and just let them talk about that shit. Let them talk about it. It can look like you don't think that I miss you, but I do. Sometimes I feel abandoned, even though I am the one that caused this distance. I still feel that way. And that's fair. I can be two thoughts at once, right? I can be aware that I caused this distance and also feel abandoned in the same sentence, understanding why it happened. These are those difficult emotions with no solutions that you just have to start to learn how to express, guys. But each example takes a surface level emotion, whatever it might be. And then if it's anger or withdrawal or whatever else, and then you branch out and you expose the real feeling that's underneath it. And that's where we gain emotional maturity. It's in talking about this stuff and you're going to get it wrong a lot. Don't get me wrong. You're going to screw this up. We have to start somewhere. Start ugly. That's what I did. Dude, my first feelings wheel session was, I just said good. I didn't really know what to add after that. I was like, I don't really care. This is stupid. What I was feeling was fearful. This is corny and I'm embarrassed and I'm humiliated sitting here doing this shit because this is where my life is now. That's the honesty of it. And I wasn't able to do that day one. I got better at it by talking about it. But if you're struggling to open up, start to journal. You and your journal. Just dump it all out. Every bit of it. Don't edit it. Don't perform. Don't write like your teacher's going to grade it or you think that you should write like someone else. Just write your bare, raw emotions. Put them out there. Start to put them out and think about them. This also helps me to name the emotion, where it is in my body. My anger comes from my diaphragm in between my gut and my heart. That's where my anger starts. My anxiety is in my throat every time. Your throat feels heavy, butterflies, chest is tight. Maybe that's your anger. Physical cues can help reveal emotion if you don't know what you're feeling. And I would share a moment too, not a monologue. Share a moment. Start with one honest truth, not your whole life story. Just start with an honest truth about something that you were dealing with, feeling inferior, feeling less than. Today, my boss said this and I just felt like a POS. I just felt so stupid in that moment. And just allow them to express it, man. Just as a partner, allow them that space to express it. And then guys, you have to start opening up. And again, we're asking for space here. Not necessarily permission. I think that you have to be able to say something to the effect of, I need to tell you something really difficult. Can we talk about this when you're ready? Because when is a good time to have these conversations? A lot of guys struggle with that too. You can, that's fair. Can we talk about this when you're ready? And let them, maybe there's a lot of shit going on. Don't say this while during kids' bedtime or during the witching hour when they're going nuts. If you've got younger ones, that 6 o'clock time period, I need to tell you something hard. Can we talk about this when you're ready? That is totally fair. That sets the stage for an open conversation. And again, expect to screw it up. Expect to get it wrong. Vulnerability is the most messy thing in the entire world. You're going to stumble. You're going to screw this up. Just repair it after the fact, okay? This is tough, guys. And I know that people think it's linear and it's not. It goes up and down and you're making progress and then you take 2 steps back and then you try again and you take 4 steps back and then you walk forward and then you keep walking forward and you get it right 5 or 6 times and then you're going somewhere. You're headed somewhere good. But don't ever also don't mistake the fact that you think you're ever going to be ready for the fact that you just need to have a conversation. There's no such thing as ready. There's just not. Stop waiting to feel ready. It'll never come. Ready is just fear in disguise. What are you waiting for? Just start talking and let's just honestly catch up. I am not proud of everything that I've done. There's some things that I never want to talk about again. I am so humiliated and disgusted with myself, and I wish I could go back in time and kick my own ass. But I am proud that I faced it. I'm proud that I had those conversations. I'm proud I acknowledged those things. I'm proud that I said those things out loud because I never want to be that man again. And when I say it, it makes it real. And I can't deny that truth anymore. And it's tough. 2 things can be true at once. But that's where peace lives on the other side of that. It's in the acceptance that I'm a flawed person. I'm a flawed man. But I'm a growing man and I tell the truth. And I never want anyone, I've seen this before, I never know how to feel about this. I feel sad whenever people say something to the effect of, I wish that you could be like that guy from that show. I am a human and I am not perfect. And I screw up every single day in some way, shape or form. I screw up. I could handle things better every single day. The only thing I have going for me is that I don't quit. So I'm just going to keep trying. Right. But don't put people on pedestals. Don't look at your loved one and say that, oh, they're not at that point. Well, not yet. Maybe they could be one day. But it's up to them how hard they want to work. And it's kind of up to you how much patience you have left. And it's okay if you don't have any. That's okay too. So I think I want to sort of transition here to a message for spouses and how to hold space without losing yourself in the midst of these conversations. I think that your desire for the truth is so valid, but so is your exhaustion. I think that we can oftentimes feel like we owe somebody just one more chance, because whenever we said our vows, we made a lot of promises and we've said the words to each other more times than we can count, that I will be there for you and I will give you a shot. And as long as you fight for this relationship, I'll fight for this relationship. But I just want you to know that you're really going to know where your relationship stands when you start this process. When you start to really get to know your partner for who they really are, not this image that they've created or that you've created. And holding space does not mean endless patience. I think that you can be open without erasing yourself and your standards for a relationship and for a person that you choose to be in a relationship with. Like, if they're trying, meet their effort with presence. And if they're not, I think you have to meet their avoidance with the truth that this person is not willing to do this work. It is true. There are some people who are just not willing to do the work. Even when it's hard, it's fair that it's hard, but are you willing? Are you willing? And if you're not willing, what are we doing here? What? Just sit around and wait for this person to get ready the rest of our lives? You can do that. Like, don't get me wrong. I apologize if that's like demeaning to someone who's doing that, but I don't know what kind of life that is. I don't. But I will also say that we were lucky in the sense that Paige still had patience left. Remember, guys, I got sober like on my first real try with rehab and stuff like that. I had relapsed more times than I can count on my own, in silence, in disguise, without her knowing. I was hiding my addiction. Remember, I was a closet addict, but she hadn't gone through like 20, 30 of these things. And there is such a thing as done. There's such a thing as a total relationship. There's such a thing as a cooked relationship. But for those of you that are not done, and you know that you're not done, and you know that there's still a chance, Paige let me fail safely, and I will never be able to. Oh man, I would have never had the maturity that she did in that situation, and I'm grateful that she had it. But she let me fail safely. But I think in a lot of ways I earned that because I hadn't done some things that some of you did. Fair to say that. Like, I had not cheated on my wife multiple times. I had not physically assaulted her. I had not lost our home. I had not done a lot of things that lead people to a place where the relationship is cooked. So yeah, those things hadn't happened yet. Were they going to? Maybe, possibly, but they hadn't happened yet. So with that being said, she let me fail in her arms safely. She let me work. She gave me the chance to work on this stuff. And when I was screwing stuff up, she would hold space for me. I just want people to know, like, you don't get that kind of grace for free, and it does not last forever. Like, patience has an expiration date. You cannot expect someone to stay loving forever if you're not doing the work. People have limits, as they should. We teach boundaries here on this show. We practice boundaries in our own lives, but if you're going to hold space, hold space. That means you still have the patience to do so. But don't lie to yourself either, okay? Don't lie to yourself either. As you're going through this, you will know in your heart when you've had enough. You will know. But there will be a lot of you that are in that place. Very few, in fact, that are actually going to be able to do this the way that we did it, because it's kind of a unique blend of opportunity and timing. We were young. We were 26 years old, or 27 years old when she was 26. I was 27 whenever I got out of treatment. We're young, right? We had a 9-month-old. There are just some differences in a lot of those stories. And you can ask her right now if she would have had that same grace 5-6 years later. And her answer is no, absolutely not. I saw an opportunity and I took it and I ran with it and never looked back. There'd be some people that it's done, and that's okay. So for those of you that are done, I know that a lot of you listening have already walked away or you've made that decision and the wheels are in motion. And hearing all this might stir up a lot of things in you. Like you start wondering if maybe you should have waited longer, if you should have tried harder, if you should have tried to urge out of them some of these conversations from an emotional place to help them convey what they're feeling. I just want to clear this up right now, is that you did not fail when you faced the truth. You cannot outlove someone's refusal to grow. You cannot love them so much and want to be so compassionate and so caring and hold the best, most comfortable space in the world for them to fail if they're not willing to try it. You cannot outlove their refusal to grow. You just can't. You cannot parent another adult into emotional maturity. And even if you could, is that a relationship that you would want to be part of? You cannot build for safety for someone that keeps setting fire to the house. You can't build safety for someone that keeps sabotaging. And support without reciprocation, it turns into self-neglect at some point, doesn't it? Just over and over and over, supporting without any kind of reciprocity is self-neglect at some point. And I see those messages that come in, and you guys are so broken. And I will never tell anyone to leave their relationship. But the fact of the matter is that those of you that are in this position, you already know. You already know. And if you need permission, you have it. You have it. I'm not going to tell you to leave, but it is an option that a lot of people don't discuss. Like no one wants to see marriages end. No one wants to see families broken up. I don't want to see that either. But I do know that there is such a thing as a situation that is dangerous for people. There's such a thing as a situation that is untenable, that you can't survive in any longer, that you're doing no favors because you can't show up wholly for your kids as long as you're in it. You can't show up for anything or anyone, including yourself. And what kind of life is that? And for all the amazing success stories are out there, there's a lot more stories where people didn't make it out. And that's just the fact of the matter. And I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but that's just the facts, guys. I think for every one of you that makes it out the other side, probably 20 of you don't. And you're not wrong at all for walking away from that situation. You did what you had to do. You know your person better than I do. There are so few people that are going to be willing to stare down the truth and rebuild through this thing. Very few of them. And so I think that it's tough to hear episodes like this and think, shit, I didn't try it hard enough. I didn't try hard. I didn't give them enough chances. Yeah, you did. You did. You know it. I know it. It's tough sometimes to look back at what could have been, but remember, it was their effort that was needed, not necessarily yours. If you held space, if you were patient, if you were compassionate, and you had that for a long time, then at some point they did one too many things to break it, and there's no going back. That's the way it works. And that sucks, but it is what it is. And you're not wrong for walking away from the situation. I would. I know I would. I know Paige would. We weren't at that point yet, guys. I just want to always be clear about that. But like Paige let me feel safely, and I'll say it again, like I earned that. I earned that. I showed willingness and initiative, and I took the lead on repair. And you cannot want change badly enough for somebody else to do it. They have to take that lead. So the ones that have walked away, like you're not cold, you're clear. You're probably clear for the first time in your entire life. And you made it safe for them to be honest. And they refused that time after time after time. And that is not on you. That's incapacity or it's unwillingness. One of the two. Either way, that is not a recipe for any kind of a relationship that I would want to be part of. And probably not you either. So like, I think that there's so few people that are going to take the lead here. So many more relationships where a spouse is going to want to do it for them, but you can't. I know that Kraft has something to say about this, about encouraging someone, being a positive influence on someone. But I think even at some point, the thing that Kraft doesn't look at is the journey of a spouse or partner. It's all about the person in recovery, and it's getting them to recovery. And it's kind of setting aside what spouse's needs, like another person's needs. It's a lot of ways it's self-sacrifice for another person. And we are not about that here. We're about the whole mission, right? We're looking at both people as equals And oftentimes spouses and partners are dismissed in this journey because we don't say it enough that it takes a lot of maturity to take the lead on repair. And if they're not going to do that, at some point it becomes self-sacrifice. So if they never did, if they never took the lead, that relationship was already done, as far as I can see it. Closure doesn't require both people agreeing that it's over. I think it requires you deciding if you're done being harmed. So please don't hear this episode and like run back into an abusive situation because you think that there's a chance there when someone has clearly given you every answer you needed and they've earned that distrust. Like, you cannot want the healing bad enough for that person as badly as you want it and as badly as I want it for them, because it kills me every time I see one of these things and this guy's like unwilling. I'm like, bro, I wish I could just wrap my arms around you and follow you around and show you how it's done. But I can't do that for you. And she can't do it for you. I want you to know it's possible. I just gave you an outline for it. And I hope that you can follow that with some degree of honesty. Hang on a second. I just lost camera here. Overheated. Sorry, y'all. We're going to keep going with the audio though. But if you left on sound advice and good reason, stay gone. Stay where you're at. Stay safe. You did a courageous thing. I just want you to know that. So there's a huge difference in someone that is, I think, between someone who's broken but willing and someone who's comfortable staying broken. Like, you can build a life with the second kind, not the first. Like, you didn't give up. You gave the relationship closure when they refused to grow. So I just want to say that, like, there is such a thing as being too late, and not all relationships get a second act. And there can be too much lies, or too many lies, and too much time and too much damage. And that can close the window for repair. It is a thin window. It is cracked open just for a bit. And if you have that window, seize it. Run after that as hard and as fast as you can. But also, letting go does not make you like bitter. I think it sets you free in a lot of ways. And parting thoughts here. Healing isn't always about reconciliation. I think a lot of the times, more often than not, it's about rebirth. It's about reclaiming you. That's what it's really about. So your story can end with grace, even if it doesn't end together. I want you guys to know that. So my invitation to you guys that are out there and you're not sure how to start. And what sucks about messages like this is that often the people that need to hear it will never hear it. And the people that don't need to hear it take it straight to heart. That's the paradox of important messages like this. Because the people that need this information are never going to be interested enough to listen to an episode like this and get interested enough in learning more so they can do it. It's the people that generally have, probably need to walk, that are going to hear this and go, oh, I'm just going to try that. And by all means, like, turn over every freaking stone until you know the truth for yourself. But it's just the unfortunate truth. But I want guys that have heard this to stop rehearsing the silence and start practicing honesty. You take the lead on repair. Be the man who owns his story. And for spouses out there, please do not confuse empathy with endurance. Love someone enough to want their healing, but love yourself enough to stop waiting. If they choose it or not, you cannot build intimacy in the dark. The truth might break you for a season, but it's the only thing strong enough to rebuild something real. If you're going to rebuild something real, make sure it's built on honesty, the truth, guys. So whether you stayed, whether you rebuilt, it doesn't really matter. If you've left and you had to rebuild yourself and you chose courage, that's what this thing's about. I want people to know that there is a path to having these kinds of conversations, even if you know nothing about the language of emotions. It's just about be willing to start. And for spouses and partners, there is a way to hold space for somebody that isn't you trying to coach them through their emotions, just holding space with them. Like, remember, like, healing's messy and it has to be their journey and it has to make sense to them in their head. You can be supportive, but you cannot do it for them. I know that so many of you would do it if you could, but you can't. They have to be willing. They have to want it. You can have those conversations with them. You can invite them to the table. Make sure it's a safe place for them to fall. Make sure it's a safe place for them to fail. Make sure it's a safe place for them to walk through this muddy and very difficult language of early recovery as they try. If that's where you're at, you have to give them that floor. You have to validate them the same way you expect to be validated. And it's really tough. And if you come to that table more often than not, and you find that you don't have the patience, this thing may not have any juice left. That's just the truth of the matter. It may not. Try therapy, try everything, try listening to the show together, see the professionals, do everything you got to do, but understand that like it is a very real outcome for a lot of people that they have to rebuild separately. And that's not quitting. That's not quitting. Just it's a new end we didn't expect. It's a different end of that story, but there's beauty in it. Whether you want to believe it now or not, there's still plenty of beauty in it. And that's all I've got. I'm going to wrap this up, get this thing edited and get it out to you for tomorrow morning. Stay tuned for Wednesday's episode. I appreciate you guys joining here. Oh, man, this has been a tough late night episode, but I always appreciate you guys hanging out. I appreciate every single freaking listener we get. I appreciate everyone that sends us messages and listens to these things and actually does something with them. So I hope that you guys can build something beautiful regardless of the outcome. Listener, whoever this is, I hope at the end of this thing, you love yourself truly. And maybe there's someone that loves you too along the way. Maybe not, but I don't think it should change what we do as we seek the truth within ourselves and begin to love ourselves for who we really are. And that's all I've got. Until next time, I'm Matt, and I'll see you.